and Gabby Williams were slow to get up after a collision underneath the basket. Here's what happened.
Well, that is a major collision for the two of them. They both knock heads. It took them both some time to get to their feet.
Lexie Hull took a brutal head-to-head hit that had fans convinced her night was done. But just minutes later, she was back on the floor, not on her forehead, crashing the boards like nothing ever happened. That one moment of toughness summed up exactly who this Indiana Fever team is. On a night meant to celebrate Caitlin Clark, the Fever walked in without Caitlin, missing half their backcourt, and still walked out with a season sweep over the Seattle Storm. So how did Hull, Aaliyah Boston, Odyssey Sims, and Kelsey Mitchell completely flip the Fever's story in just one game? And what did Aaliyah Boston say afterward that has the entire locker room fired up? If you're riding with the Fever, drop a comment. I've got the Fever. Let's go.
First home game. Got a dub. Let's get it.
Big dub.
Fever dub. Woo!
Dubs.
It's giving.
Indiana's obstacles began long before tip-off. Caitlin Clark remained sidelined with the groin injury that had kept her out since mid-July. Alongside her, Sophie Cunningham, Ari McDonald, and Sydney Colson were all shut down with season-ending injuries, while Chloe Beebe continued to battle lingering knee issues. That meant the Fever were missing nearly their entire guard rotation, leaving the bench thin and putting extra pressure on the starters to log heavy minutes in a critical matchup.
AB's been the one that's been most affected by all of our injuries. You know, all of the point guards that know how to get her the ball and how they get it to her. And it's not just getting her the ball, it's where you get it to her, you know, getting it to her on time, on target, you know, thinking one pass ahead, you know, all that matters. And I thought today, her aggressiveness with the ball in her hands to the rim, getting into defenders, playing low to high instead of high to low. When she plays like that, you know, there's nobody that can stop her. And, you know, she set the tone for us, really on both ends. You know, she had the NECA assignment as well and set the tone for us on both ends. And, you know, she was terrific.
The timing couldn't have been worse. Indiana had dropped 4 of their last 5, sliding dangerously close to the edge of the playoff race. They came into the game with a 19-18 record, clinging to the 8th and final postseason spot, while Seattle sat just ahead in 6th. Every possession mattered, not only to stop another losing skid but also to climb in a standings battle, separated by just one win. For both the players and the fans, the urgency was impossible to miss.
Aaliyah, this is a string of games, beginning of a string of games against the teams you're competing for a playoff spot against. Did this game feel more important in that regard? And I guess how big was it to get a win in this one?
Yeah, I mean, going into this game, we talked about that this was going to be a big game for us, considering the standings where Seattle was. But, you know, going into the West Coast trip, I mean, right now we're just going to be focused on LA. That's kind of been our motto this entire season, is just focus on the game ahead of you, be where your feet are. And so starting tomorrow, we're going to be looking at LA. But, I mean, this next string of games definitely important for us, but we got to take it one game at a time.
But inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the energy painted a completely different picture before tip-off. Caitlin Clark's Nike logo unveiling had transformed the arena into more of a celebration than a game night. Banners draped across railings, fans in matching promo shirts filled the seats, and photo backdrops drew lines of people eager for selfies. It was an evening crafted around Clark's star power, her impact as both an athlete and a cultural phenomenon. Yet the irony was hard to miss. Clark wasn't on the floor. She was on the sidelines, watching courtside, as her teammates battled to keep Indiana's playoff hopes alive.
Feels good. Got the pants, got the charms, necklace, zipper, everything.
On the court, the challenge was obvious. Without Clark's perimeter shooting to space the floor and missing multiple veteran ball handlers to stabilize the offense, Indiana was forced to rely heavily on interior scoring and relentless rebounding just to stay competitive. Seattle, with its seasoned core still pushing to solidify playoff seeding, appeared poised to take full advantage of the Fever's thin rotation. For most in the arena, the expectation was simple. Indiana might keep it close, but a grind was the best they could hope for.
It's special. I mean, you know, there's very few people who get the opportunity to say that they have a logo and to make the impact that she makes, not just, I think, in the sport, but globally, just by being who she is. She's a connector. She brings people together. And, you know, I think for us to be a part of that, and whether it's, you know, as simple as being able to celebrate all of these things with her, or as much as walking out into the arena and seeing the whiteout on the chairs out there. It's really cool. And it's really special and I'm talking about it right now and just feeling the intense gratitude for me personally, being in women's basketball, to be able to be a part of this moment and to celebrate with her.
Still, the Fever stepped onto the court with a completely different energy. Instead of letting the injuries or the spotlight on Clark's celebration overshadow them, they treated the game as a test of grit. Defensive rotations snapped into place with urgency. Every box out came with extra contact, and the crowd, energized by Clark's presence but eager for someone else to step up, fed off the effort. And in that tense, high-stakes atmosphere came the defining moment of the night, a brutal collision that captured Indiana's resilience in one unforgettable scene.
And Gabby Williams were slow to get up after a collision underneath the basket. Here's what happened.
Oh, that is a major collision for the two of them. They both knock heads. It took them both some time to get to their feet.
It unfolded in the opening quarter. Lexie Hull and Gabby Williams both dove after a loose ball beneath the rim when their heads collided with a sickening crack that echoed through the arena. Both players went down hard. Williams stayed on the bench afterward, but Hull immediately headed to the locker room, holding her forehead. Cameras quickly picked up the swelling, a knot rising almost instantly that made fans inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse and those watching at home wince. The building fell silent. With 5 teammates already out, the thought of losing Hull felt like the breaking point.
Happened on that play?
Well, I didn't know exactly what happened when it happened. It was kind of just like a clash. But looking at the video, it just, Gabby and I ran into each other. Unfortunate, unlucky. I think we both have knots on our heads, so we both kept playing, so that's all right.
Were you pretty dazed when you...
Yeah, I think it's more like what just happened, big collision. I just need some time. Felt my face, felt a growing knot, so that doesn't feel good.
Most fans figured her night was over. After a hit like that, nobody expected Hull to return, especially with the swelling on her forehead visibly growing by the minute. But here's the thing. Hull may not be a highlight scorer, yet on a short-handed Indiana roster, her presence is indispensable. She takes on the toughest defensive matchups, dives for every loose ball, and injects the kind of energy that ties the team together. Without her, the Fever would have been even more vulnerable on the perimeter. Everyone in the arena understood it. The thought was unanimous. If Hull was done, how could Indiana possibly hang on?
Storm basketball. Deliver starters, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexie Hull. Second to the floor.
Minutes passed, and then almost out of nowhere, Hull emerged from the tunnel and checked back in. The swelling on her forehead was impossible to miss, yet she played with the exact same fire as before. Her very first possession back said it all. She threw herself to the floor chasing a loose ball as if nothing had happened. The arena erupted, fans rising to their feet to roar for her return. What seemed like the end of her night instead became the spark of the game. Hull later admitted she was dazed right after the collision, but still logged heavy minutes. She even laughed afterward, saying everyone kept telling her she looked great despite the massive bump on her head.
Getting back on the bench, was everybody just kind of staring at your forehead directly?
I knew yeah. Everyone's like, you look beautiful. I'm like, I know I look insane. But it honestly looks better now than it did when it first happened. So hopefully this goes down quick.
Did you glance up at the video board to see it? Did you get a look at it?
No, I could see it looking out. I could see it just from my own eyes. So I didn't need to look anywhere. I knew it was going to be big.
No way. So it's in your peripheral vision?
Yes. It was literally sticking out. I mean, it's still big right here, but it was bigger and I could see it. So they brought it down a little.
Your teammates, your coach, the GM, everybody's just kind of talking about your toughness, I guess. So there's not really a good way to ask that question, but if you could just talk to me about that toughness and where that comes from.
I mean, if I can play, if I feel like I can play, whether or not I look good or not isn't the problem. So, I think for me, it's just the team is the most important thing, getting wins the most important thing, and if I can contribute in any way I can, that's what I'm going to do. So if it's playing a little injured, playing a little hurt, that is what it is.
Hull's choice to keep fighting didn't just lift the crowd, it rippled through the entire team. The bench fed off it, the starters fed off it, and afterward, Aaliyah Boston put it into words. She called Hull the very definition of tough. And it wasn't just a compliment, it was the perfect label for the identity the Fever embodied that night.
Lexie Hull gets hit in the head there at the beginning of the game, comes back in. If you could just speak to her toughness and what it meant seeing her fight through what sure was not very pleasant.
I feel like Lexie's the definition of tough.
Yes.
I think when you just think of her as a player, the way that she hustles, she likes to get loose balls, extra offensive possessions. That's what she does. I mean, she got hit, she came back and just continued to contribute again. Was a pest on defense, just making her presence felt, offensive rebounds, and that's just who Lexie is. So.